Josh, I have missed you and your family. I was so happy at New Year's to get to come to your house this New Year's and celebrate the New Year's with you and your family and Misty and her husband and stuff
Mhm.
because we love your family. And you're someone who I want to rub elbows with because I really believe that iron sharpens iron. One of the biggest things that we're talking about in this is how we are the sum of the five people that we hang out with. And you are one of those guys that this is why I wanted you on here because you exude that characteristics of someone who I want to emulate and to know more because you make me a better version of myself. But I would love for you to explain the difference now of once you accepted Christ, how that changed you going forward now and how having God in your life now, knowing who He is, accepting Him as your Savior, how that helped you to lead your family going forward.
Um, Thanks, Mike. That's a great question, and when I look across over to our dining room, there's a picture from just a phrase, and it was something that was given to us. It's "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord," from the book of Joshua, and obviously with my name. Joshua's story is something that I really read very carefully and just found a lot of inspiration in. And what's that saying? As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That's asking for accountability. It's asking for integrity. It's God saying to us, "Hey, you're on this planet. You're on this earth. I've given you this life. What are you going to do with it?" And it was something that before we were saved, I didn't know, I didn't understand. But now, since we were saved, since our baptism, right? What a great picture that was of, as a family, we buried the old roses and
Yes.
we rose anew as this family that, okay, together we now understand our purpose. We now understand what's important to us, and okay, what can we do to serve the Lord? And that doesn't mean, as much as we'd love to go on a mission trip or something like that. It doesn't mean that we're gonna all of a sudden drop everything, sell all of our possessions, and um, go to Africa for the rest of our lives, or
Right.
you know something like that. What it does mean is uh, recognizing our spiritual gifts and using these spiritual gifts in the ways that God has set out for us to do everything we can. Right? There's a great
Right.
saying. My wife is very fond of saying, "Hey, you may be the only Bible that some people ever get to read,"
Yeah.
and um, we really try to take that to heart. And so whether it's something that I'm doing at work, whether it's something I'm doing in my social life. Melissa is very much the same way. The kids are the same way. Um, we we need to be representatives of God, and we need to use whatever He's put in front of us to honor Him and to lift Him up. And so that means, okay, if I'm in a business meeting, right? Well, I will absolutely pray before that meeting, even sometimes in the middle of that meeting. Lord, give me your wisdom, give me your guidance, help me make the right decision, help me lead my people the right way, help me set a good example for these other folks, some of whom may not know you, and
Correct.
let them look at me and say, okay, I want what he has. What is it that he's doing that um, that I can emulate? and give them the courage to come ask me about it, and give me the courage to tell them, and tell them, hey, this is how I've changed, and this is what I've done. Um,
Yep.
I think with our kids, uh, Jonathan and Abigail, they're both in high school now, and high school is such a I mean, it's the enemy's hunting ground, right?
Yes.
This is where the enemy is going to try to separate as many
Yes.
souls as he possibly can from God, from Jesus, and give them all of these challenges that go in front of them. And I I pray daily that, okay, Lord, send your angels to put this hedge of protection around Jonathan, around Abigail, as they're going through school, as they're interacting with your people. But at the same time, let them be the Bible that their
Yeah.
friends may not ever get to read. Let them
Yep.
do the right thing. Give them the courage, Lord, the wisdom, the knowledge, the guidance, um, to know that you are there with them, and let them be representatives of you. Let them be soldiers in your army, Lord, even when they don't know that that's what they're doing. And it's it's not to say that it's not without its challenges, right? The enemy will
Right.
attack you. The enemy will attack your kids, and we've seen it. And John and Abby have both dealt with their share of difficulties. But when we get the opportunity to pray for them, to pray with them, to help them know that they're not fighting these battles alone, that with God on their side, it doesn't matter who's against them, because they will overcome everything in their path. And giving them that comfort, that knowledge that they can get through this. I mean, that's something that we as parents, I think we have to do that every single day. That we have to reinforce to them, because the enemy is out there trying to whisper in their ears, saying, "Hey, you're all alone. Nobody else has this problem. Nobody else has dealt with this. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to fail." Um, and we have to show them that that's not true. We have to lead them through that. And um, there it is a constant battle every day. But
Let me ask you something,
yeah,
Josh, if you don't mind me asking you this
yeah.
question. Um, because that's where the enemy has always attacked me, has been
Hmm.
leading my family. Because I think to be honest with you, until my book came out,
Hmm.
um, the enemy always used guilt and shame for me. Because it's no secret on here, unintentional guy, that you know pornography had really got me, um, and it became my identity.
Hmm.
Shame and guilt became my identity, and that's what I love about my church, is that no perfect people allowed, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And my identity is no longer that. And I even appreciate it. I remember I had not seen you in a long time, and I had no clue that you read my book. And we had a special gathering in Pensacola where everyone was
Hmm.
together. And you don't know how much I appreciate, you pulled me aside and you told me, Mike, I read your book, and you told me how uh you were just encouraging to me, because I was scared. What are people going to think after reading my book? And especially at my church. How I remember one of the day I sent on my book, and it was published, and when I posted it out there, how's it going to be received? So first off, I want to thank you, because um, you received it so well. But as a parent in this world today, um, it was hard for me to lead my family. I am doing so much better leading my family now. It is amazing because God through me. Once you shed light on something, it's amazing. But how do you how do you lead these teenagers today with, with that? How do you intentionally lead them? What does that look like for maybe a dad who's listening to us today that has teenagers? And you just said it. I mean, the enemy wants to take them out, and there's so much
Mhm.
with the phones that we have today. Pornography. For us, pornography was not easy as children to go get. Today,
Mhm.
it's right there. So I know that that's a that's a battle. Second of all, identity is
Mhm.
such a tough one because the enemy at the high school level, there's so many that our teenage girls face. Uh, how is that something that you and Melissa, uh, how do you guys lead your kids through that?
So, Mike, I mean, it's such an important question, and I think I think it all starts with the acknowledgement that we're not perfect. Um,
Yes.
I screw up daily, right? It just
Right.
it doesn't matter what it is. There's something somewhere that I haven't done right, and it could start early in the morning. Did I wake up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym this morning? No, I did not. I slept right through that alarm, right? And then
Right.
it's all downhill from there. Every single day I'm doing something that I know there's a better way to do it, but for whatever reason I screwed up. And then it's the acknowledgement that, okay, I make mistakes. Melissa makes mistakes. Jonathan and Abigail make mistakes. Everybody in the world makes mistakes. There was only one perfect person, um, and that was Jesus. And what he did for us by dying on the cross for all of the mistakes that I've made, that you've made, that everybody has made, to wash us clean.
Right.
If we embrace that, then we know, okay, I don't need to be perfect. Um, I just need to do as good as I can. And when I make mistakes, acknowledge them and move forward. And so with our kids, um, we've had that same attitude. Okay, so Jonathan, he's a junior now. Um, he's a great kid. He really
Yeah.
is. He doesn't give us a lot of heartburn. He uh, tries to do the right thing. Does he screw up? Absolutely, right?
Right.
And there are so many things that get put in front of him that all we can do is pray, okay, let him make good decisions, but if he doesn't make good decisions, let him know that we're here, and we're going to support him. Will we be disappointed if he makes a bad decision? Potentially. Does that mean that I'm not perfect? Yes, it does. Right? Only God has seen us make bad decisions and not been disappointed in us, but given us that perfect grace. I can't necessarily do that. So yes, he knows if he screws something up, will I be disappointed? Potentially. But will I support him and will I love him and will I help him through it? Yes, absolutely, unconditionally. And we've
Yeah.
had those conversations. And, there have been so many things that as, he's got his driver's license, he's out driving on his own, he's out doing things most nights out of the week. He's, at least 4 nights out of the week, he's with his girlfriend. They're off doing things. I pray for wisdom and guidance and patience in that relationship. And we just have to have faith that he's going to. He's going to do what we would like him to do, and if he doesn't, we have to have faith that he's going to um, come to us and get help when he needs it. And as
Yeah.
he's getting ready to launch, as we're looking at colleges, we're doing that whole next step. Um, all we can do is pray. Okay, have we given him all the tools that we possibly can to help him to be successful? And then again, most importantly, have we given him the knowledge that he's got a safe landing pad, that we're here for him, and we're going to be there to support him. And that's what we try to do. Abigail is in the earlier part of that season now. She's a freshman. And even that, and Mike, you touched on it, right? So when I went to high school, when I went from eighth grade to ninth grade, huge transition, right? Our
Right.
our school system was a K through 8 school system, so I went from being in the same building for that full 9 years of elementary school to a brand new building, new responsibilities, new structure, new everything, and then also a lot of new exposures. I think today, with all the things that kids are exposed to, social media, television, just whatever it is, that age of innocence gets younger and younger and younger. And
Yeah.
um, so for freshmen, particularly freshman girls, yes, there is absolutely a whole new set of challenges that present to them when they get into high school. But I would argue that, frankly, a lot of those challenges are there in middle school now,
Yeah.
and they're things that, as parents, we might not even be aware of. But there are sixth graders and seventh graders and eighth graders that are, battling issues, whether it's with identity or drugs or sex or whatever it might be. I think the enemy has just found ways to get into those younger ages. So now, as Abby is a freshman, frankly, she's been battling some of these same issues that are being thrown at her for years, and they're not necessarily new. That being said, I do think high school magnifies them, and
Yeah.
it's you're going from a skirmish to a battle, and it is a battle every day. And so
Yeah.
with with Abby, just like with John, we pray daily that um, heaven's armies will protect them, that there's a hedge
Yeah.
of protection around her as she's in school. We absolutely know that, again, we're not perfect. We screw up on a daily basis. We're expecting that she's going to make mistakes, and what we want her to know is that we're here for her when she does. And I think there's all sorts of ways that those lessons get learned, right? Whether it's with a homework assignment that now there's a lot less um, uh, reminding of the teachers. If the teachers, in seventh or eighth grade, the teacher might say, "Hey, don't forget this is due at the end of the week." Now in ninth grade, teacher gives you a syllabus, everything's laid out in front of it, and it's up to you to get your assignments in on time. And if you don't turn them in, um, then the teacher has no obligation to accept them. And I think Abby's learned that lesson to say that,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I gotta actually do what I'm supposed to do. I can't just coast through and not do the work. Um, but again, it's one of those scenarios where we try to show her, hey, listen, I'm out here working all day because I have people that I'm accountable to that are expecting me to do things. Mom is doing the same thing. She is working all day long because there are people she's accountable to that are expecting her to turn in her work and do her things. And Abby's had to learn that as well. And when she's missed an assignment or whatever the case may be, she's had to learn, okay, wait a minute, there's real consequences to this.
Right.
And every single lesson, right, whatever it is, um, we're able to go back and use stories from the Bible and use different passages and phrases and show her, hey, listen, this is not this is not new. This is not a new battle that you're having by yourself in 2023 that nobody's ever had before. If you look back, I can give you stories from my life. Mom can give you stories from her life. Maybe it's drama with her friends, or maybe it's peer pressure from some external group that she's exposed to. Whatever it might be, we say, listen, none of this is new. The enemy doesn't have any new tricks. The enemy just likes to
Yeah.
use them over and over again. And it's up to us to understand how to protect ourselves from them. And all of the answers are here. We just have to do the work. We just have to be accountable to it. And so, yeah, it can be challenging, but when we remember that, we can stay focused on what's important.
Well, one of the things that I love about your family, and you have shown it well, whether you know it or not, is and Amber and I are right at this stage right now. And I have seen it in your marriage. So your marriage, I'm going to tell you that your marriage has been an example for me and Amber, okay? In this way, I love the fact of the relationship you have with your wife. I s- you are a couple that I know see each other. The way you look at each other, the way that you love each other is amazing. And I know it's behind closed doors. All marriages are not perfect, and we have our spats and we have our different things that happen. But one of the things, Josh, that I love is that I feel that that you guys see each other and that love. I mean, I see the love that your wife has when she looks at you. And I see the love that you have looking back at your wife, which is one tremendous examples for your kids, right? Because Abigail's going to grow up, statistics show, to find she's going to end up finding a husband like what you've illustrated to her. And your son, he's going to treat the woman he marries the way that he sees his dad treat that his his mother. That statistics show that, right? There's always an exception, of course. But I want to tell you, as a person, you guys have been leaders for us, and we get that now. And I love it. I love how my wife looks at me. I'm addicted to that, you know?
Hmm.
And but I see that in your guys, and I know that it is because you guys have an intentionality in your relationship. And one of the things that me and Amber have just started doing, and I don't know if this is something that you guys do on a regular basis or not, but it was the biggest fear of mine. We talked about it in one of the episodes coming up to here is, but praying with my wife
Hmm.
has changed everything. Praying with her, but also now getting outside of my wife. I mean, outside of myself, I have become more intentional in her
Hmm.
and being her husband, and I love it. And I just want to ask you, as we close out a little bit, um, how maybe you do that? Uh, how if there's some kind of thing that you can just antidote or something, maybe there's something special that you do. For me, I know now it's that praying. I know my wife's love language is words of affirmation, so every day I'm trying to send her at least a couple of text messages or talk to her in the day to give her those words of affirmation, because I know that's her love language, and I want to
Hmm.
make sure I fill her cup.
Hmm.
So I maybe I just want to lay that out there, put you on the spot a little bit before we close out of how do you communicate that?
Um, I think for me, it's it all starts with respect. I
Yeah.
think if if you're with someone and you don't respect everything about them, the entire person, the 360 degrees of that person, then you can't really truly know them or love them, right? And so
Right.
for me, whatever she's doing, whether it's with the kids, whether it's at work, whether it's around the house with her friends, or just being herself, um, I I respect her as a person. I respect her opinions, her thoughts, her desires, all of those. Whatever's important to her is important to me.
Hmm.
And and that's intentional. And there are times where okay, what's important to her is okay, which blouse looks better, or which pair of shoes should I wear, or whatever.
Right.
As okay, listen, honestly, that's not really important to me, but if it's important to her, then it's my priority as well. And
Yes.
and and being intentional with that and saying, okay, look, it's I'm never going to say, look, I don't care which shirt you wear. Um, I will say, honestly, whatever you're wearing, you look good in either way. So it doesn't, the net
Right.
result's the same. But if it's important to you and you want to feel a certain way, you want to present a certain way. Well, okay, I like this one over that one because I think it presents you in XYZ way, right? So
Yeah.
so it's paying attention to those things. I think you said love language. That's so important. Understanding how to communicate with her, and what really matters to her. In Melissa's case, it's acts of service. And so
Mm.
whenever I get the opportunity, okay, can I make her breakfast? Can I make her a lunch? Can I make dinner?
Oh yeah.
Can I fold laundry? Can I sweep up the floors? Whatever I can do, because it's one less thing that she has to do, then that's a natural for me, and it's a really easy way to show her that, hey, not only do I love you, but I respect your time, and I respect what you do on a daily basis. And so if I can decompress any of your responsibilities and take them off your plate, I want to do that for you because I want you to have the ability to just sit back and relax and
Yeah.
not worry about whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Um, it it really comes down to making your wife the most important person in your world.
Yes.
So, um, obviously, my most important relationship is with Jesus, but Melissa is the strong number two, right?
Yeah.
Um, and when I can have my relationship with my wife reflect the type of relationship that I want Jesus to have with me, then I know that I'm being successful in that.
Yeah. Well, Josh, I just want to thank you so much for being on this show. You're definitely one of those leaders that I look at. You're not only just a great friend, but you're a great man, and I appreciate you being on here sharing your story with us. And I think, there's a lot of guys who might be listening. Some of them, they might be on that cusp of where their relationship with Christ is
Hmm.
uh, with that. But it's truly uh, being intentional. We are, just so everyone knows, go to intentionalguide.org. There is a free download of this devotional I did called Intentional Man. We're kind of going through that through this 28-day challenge. But these were things that I found that really helped me and my to get back to restoration and to get my life back to be more intentional. And our church, these are all these life lessons I learned from our church, to be
Hmm.
honest, that I just put in here. So you can go, guys, online to intentionalguy.org. You can download it for free with it, or you can go on Amazon. It's like $5. You can get it on Amazon if you like. I like having a hard copy. But Josh, thank you again for being here. Josh, you have a great family. You have a wonderful family.
Thank you.
Um, and thank you for sharing all this with us. And until to my listeners that are listening, until next time, I just ask you to keep being intentional. We'll talk to you later.